Complex, hella shitty, ain't getting, and I am my bullshitting, slang sticking, in the face of all you niggas bitching, this mixing, I'm freaking it like a fool sticking, flea flicking, off the nuts for up neck kicking, slip slicking, definitely hitting, from like the but it's sexually transmitting, block gripping, yeah, strictly with a cracker stricken, ain't forgetting, my niggas there residing tricking, the new hitting, the system who's not hitting, the noise hitting, the carjacking finger bending, the guy, that 5% that ain't sitting, the blood is spilling, another nigga's trigger killing, ain't killing, shit for the blacks are killing, I'm for killing, that cracker up in Patterson, that bust a gun when Lawrence Myers wasn't packing one, I swear to God, black people better wisen up about an ex-slave, why he never gave a fuck. You think they got Dr. Beans and you cut the sugar, but I'm a 95, that ex-slave's a useless nigga. Man, don't give a nigga do for self, cause right now your future's in the hands of someone else. And I got to mention, that big cause hypertension, no superstition, see all of this is non-fiction. Sit back and listen, cause this one is no intermission. That's how you dipping, that she's essential to my clicking. Style skilling, power I should keep you pulling. I put skilling, this hip hop shit I'm feeling. In every album, I put another fucking style in, but violent. See, hip hop is my island. 2 pussy, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 pussy. Dead and buried, it's very scary to be fucking with every nigga in me. Any styles you want done, baby? I do them naturally. For righteous teaching, ear to the speaker while I'm speaking. Here to teach I'm freaking 2 million blacks and Puerto Ricans. I ain't agreeing, those that talk and tell some squeezing. Magazines and the souls of blacks for any reason. So stop the teasing. I'm the code of what you believe in. The imperialism, that jealousy, that grief and greeting. This is what I'm reading. Knowledge is ugly, that's the seeing. It isn't pleasing to give the reason why you're needing. That's why you're eating. The children out of trick or treating. Worshiping demons, following these Europeans. Christmas treeing, Easter bunny, basket weaving. You Thanksgiving, the slaughter of the Indians. You ain't seeing the God within my state of being. And the dead spirits, the reason why you ain't seeing. You ODing, you feel like what you got you weakened. Mistreating the earth that broke the strict reason. Tongue freezing, power sniffing, nose bleeding. Weight leaving, at New Jersey Turnpike speaking. Every weekend, you come to hear some rappers speaking. Some bullshit, designed to keep your spirit shrinking. That's just the shrinking, and I wonder what she's really thinking. I'm down for creeping, wanna get me in between the sheets. And I'm a married man, got a wife and son and 20 sheep. With a house of form, because my people got to eat. You used to sleep, and dog came up to talk is cheap. Make conscious moves, because I like this what I preach. You know what I do, this shit is real slang spit coming at ya. In the 9-5, niggas. That was Wise Intelligent Freestyle off the Slept On album, Killing You for Fun. Go cop that. I have the CD. All that streaming MP3 stuff, I'm too old for that mess. All right, let's make it happen. Bro.Diallo. What is it? Oh, I got a question already. I'm gonna start with you, Orlando. I'm on YouTube, but I'm gonna start with Facebook. You know, get in where you fit in. But anyway, that was Wise Intelligent. Freestyle off of Killing You for Fun. One of my favorite tracks. He just goes hard on that. He said you pick the cotton, coffee beans, and you cut the sugar. But now in 95, an ex-slave's a useless nigga. But he said it fast, like, man. Let's get started. Q&A with Bro.Diallo. I got some announcements, but I'll save them to the end. I already got a question right out the gate. Orlando Travis asked me, should I be saying your government? I'll just use first names or aliases. I ain't going to put y'all out there. But Orlando asked, what's the name of the black political party you're forming? First of all, I'm not a proponent of black political parties in the United States. To me, it's an exercise in futility. Black people at our strongest represent between 13 to 16% of the overall U.S. electorate. And when you just control for voting aged, that's in total. And when you just look at registered voters, sometimes we can be as low as 9 to 12% of registered voters or even lower. And a lot of times during election cycles, turnouts, like here in Chicago, sometimes in terms of registered voters, the turnout would be as low as 13%. And I care about black people, and black people's time is mad valuable. And I don't like wasting black people's time. So since we have limited numbers and limited resources, we have to be mad careful with it. We ain't like Trump. We can't go bankrupt 10 or 15 times and then recover. You know, we can't walk around with them kind of deficits. So I know y'all don't like to hear this because black people, we like words like that idea of a black political party and black people coming together. That sounds beautiful, but in application, it's an exercise in absolute futility. So politically, now, if he had asked Black Pan-Africanist Revolutionary Party, then I would say the name of it is the African World Coalition in solidarity with Niger resistance and all other Pan-Africanist revolutionary liberationist movement. But he didn't ask me that. He said political party. And a lot of black people are going to show up. Who's forming a blitz? There's already some clown. P. Diddy, who's forming a black political party. Now, you can have a black political bloc, which is different than a party. It's too much time, and it is an absolute time of waste, a waste of resources, and it's an ego trip. Anybody coming to you telling you I'm forming a black political party is on a vanity project or an ego trip, and should be ignored because they're gonna play you. I mean, Puff Daddy done played every black rapper coming out from Harlem to Brooklyn and back again, and now y'all gonna let them play the whole black community again. So, just as adults, speaking as adults, outside of rhetoric, but in terms of practicality and application and viability, a black political party is a exert in futility, with one caveat. If you live in a black metropolis, which are quickly fading, like DC, black people could organize within Chicago, within DC, within Atlanta, and take over the local political infrastructure. It could be done if you could get a unison, if you can get these pork chop preachers and sorority and fraternity Negro in Atlanta. Black people pretty much do control the political infrastructure. When I was a member of the National Black United Front, the National Black United Front owned and controlled and had black politics in the city of Kansas City on lock. And there was, at any given election cycle in the 80s and 90s, you would have MBUF members on the city council, MBUF members on the school board, and you would have MBUF members embedded within any type of mayoral administration that emerged, and you weren't getting elected. And when I would come to the MBUF meetings, what am I doing? Sorry about the sound. I had this mic way over there. I hope that's better. Sorry about that, y'all. I'm bugging. Can you hear me better? Was the sound a little off? Sorry about that. Yeah, you said it's not loud enough. Sorry, KK. Damn, I'm bugging. The mic was way over here. But I hope I'm coming through better now. Oh, okay. Thanks, Johnson. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. And so in local politics, but it's better, as Malcolm X said, it's still applicable today. We can form voting blocks. And a black voting block can do everything that a political party does. A black voting block can create a policy platform, can determine budgetary and policy priorities and redirect. But the only thing a voting block does is, instead of forming its own party and going through all the legal and economic, jumping through all those hoops to establish a party, what they do is they go and lobby the existing political parties to adopting or grafting their platform on. And the only thing you need, if you're going to play that game, is you need rewards and consequences. You need to be able to go to whatever existing political party is, Democrat, Republican, or some independent, and say, listen, here's our priorities and our platforms. If you get in line with this, this is how we can reward you. If you reject or go against this, this is how we're in a position to sanction you. I have a brother by the name of Eon.
he ran for city council or some position in Milwaukee. He's probably going to be pissed. I don't remember exactly what he did because he works his finger to the bone for black folks. And he said the black community, his political opponent, when he was running for re-election, was passing out fried chicken. And he literally had to go to his voters and said, after all I did for y'all, y'all voted me out over some fried chicken. But I mean, holla at Eon. He'll tell you the story. He loves retelling that story. But he said when he was elected to office, he went and sat down, and the Hmong community, you can look up the Hmong community. The Hmong community is a population of Southeast Asian people, ethnic group, who, when the U.S. was fighting the Vietnam War and other imperial adventures in Southeast Asia, they sided with the U.S. against their own people. And so the U.S. in reward to that, because they knew when the guerrilla forces drove the U.S. out of the Southeast Asia, they knew that those people would be slaughtered. So, and I'm okay, and it's a lot of history to that. And I know but I'm trying to get to a point. But those people ended up in certain population. There's a movie called Gran Torino starring Clint Eastwood that kind of gives you some back history on the Hmong people, you know. But there are Hmong populations around the country, right? And so anyway, he's sitting in his office. He'd been living in Milwaukee all his life, been in politics, been an activist, never ran across a Hmong person, never broke bread with Hmong people. And when he was sat down, they were like, listen, we got some people from the Hmong community here to talk to you. He's like, from the who to what? Do they even vote? Do they live in my district? And they came to him and been like, yeah, congratulations on your victory. Here's our list of requests and demands. And here's what we can do to reward you, what we can do to punish you. And that's how it goes. The Jewish American community makes up 2% of the population, and they have so much influence over the politics. We got some black leaders and demagogues telling us that they got supernatural magical abilities, that they are reptilian or overlords, that they are space aliens, that they have some demonic or divine power to manipulate the political processes because they have so much clout, even though they represent such a small number of voters. But you'll recognize that the Jewish community, through their synagogues and their rabbi leaders, their political / religious leaders, move as a group, and they jump from Democrat to Republican. They jump from party to party. They jump from platform. They'll rock with, they'll dance. There's an old saying in politics: you got to dance with who brings you. So when they have their AIPAC and all that stuff, they'll bring out all the conservatives. They'll bring out all the liberals. They don't give a damn. They'll rock with whoever rock with them. And they will reward who supports them, and they will sanction who goes against them. So I think that is the more practical and viable way for black people to move. But the problem with that is when you're forming a political party, you're asking the white community or the popular or the Democratic, the majority population to kind of recognize you. But when you're forming blocks and when you're creating a cohesive internal party, then you have to say, well, I need to be able to mobilize, organize before you can go to the outside your community and say, hey, I want you to move in this direction, and I will reward you for moving, and I will sanction or punish you for not moving. Before we can tell that to white folks, before we can tell that to the Democratic Party, before we can tell that to local, state, federal governments, we have to be able to exercise that within our own community. We have to have some level of ability to mobilize our people, to move our people, to motivate our people, to reward our people, and if necessary, sanction individuals or groups of our people. And that's harder work, but it's much easier to play political party and chant and shout at Democrats and talk shit about Democrats and talk shit about Republicans. So, yes, I have tea. I made my own. Because, you know, if I waited for you, I would just now be getting my tea. Did you make one? Sorry. I bought my own mug, too. Had to buy this mug for myself. My family don't buy. But anyway, so I would say politically, it is better to capture existing infrastructure as opposed to building old infrastructure. For political party, for revolutionary party, because if you build an international revolutionary party, we become a majority. Democracy means majority rule. We are a minority. And the reason we're a minority in this country is because of genocide. genocidal practices. The United States government, since the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation, has deliberately worked to suppress the physical number of black people in this country and increase the physical number of white people. And they have done it through literally directly killing us, creating conditions in which we kill ourselves, discouraging the immigration of black people. And when they allow black people to enter this country from the Caribbean and other places, driving wedges between various ethnic populations and geographical populations of black people, and encouraging the immigration of white people. And when white people come here, working as quickly as possible to merge and mesh white populations. Because when white Italians came here, they were not considered white. When Irish came here, they were not considered white. When Catholics, from wherever they came, Catholics were not considered white. But over time, they even have old Jim Crow signs that didn't just say no Negroes. Those signs says no blacks, no Catholics, no Jews, no Irish, no Polish, no dogs. But they want to act like and they ran in those places after black people came in and took one seat at the front of the bus. All those white people who got grandfathered into whiteness, they came and took all the other seats away from all the other black folks, and even women. But that's a whole nother discussion. So black people are a manufactured minority, and it's wrong that we are, but we can't deny it. Like, well, I'm just going to deny reality because it's a negative reality. We have to accept negative realities if we're going to create positive realities, because you have to start where you are and work with what you got. So, I mean, black people don't like to rock with me when I'm talking about politics because they get emotional. They get their identities. I tell you all the time, y'all need to be cold, distant, and calculating when it comes to black folks in politics. So I would say, black people, we need to form revolutionary parties, which are global, which are not tied to U.S. public policy and U.S. administration and U.S. budgets and U.S. election cycles, that operate above and beyond and independent of U.S. functioning. Now, I say we form those. But when it comes to electoral politics, and what have we learned? We need to get this mantra out. When black people are engaging in the U.S. political system, we are doing it for three reasons. You're not voting for liberation. You're not voting for acknowledgement of your humanity. You're not voting to save the soul of this nation. Black people being oppressed subjects of an imperial state can only vote for three things: harm reduction, resource extraction, and status quo subversion. And I can go into that if y'all want to. And a lot of people who are anti-voting lie. They create this fallacious dichotomy to say, if you're voting, then you're voting for freedom. Oh, you think the white man gonna free you? You think Biden gonna change everything? You think Birdie care about black people? Oh, that's fucking irrelevant. That's not why I don't vote, because I think any of that shit. I vote for resource extraction, to get shit for my people in my community. Get what you got to get quick and don't get gaffled in the mix, MC8. Get resources for my community. To reduce the harm, so if I can vote to limit carbon emissions, if I can vote to get lead out of gasoline, which was a political policy, if I can vote to clean up, to dredge the Chicago River, and get all the pollutant and human excrement out of the Chicago River where little kids run along those waterways, little black kids too. Now I'm going to vote, that's harm reduction. And then subvert the status quo. So I'm going to vote green. I'm going to vote socialist liberal. I'm going to vote Bernie. If there is a progressive Democrat that the Democratic establishment is against, I'm going to help them. My wife and I worked on 2 political campaigns in the last 2 years. We worked for an upstart mayor who lost, and we worked on a mayoral campaign to bring a progressive mayor from the West Side. He lost. They can't, the machine was there, but we raged against the machine. And we worked with, who was also a Democrat. Then we worked with an independent politician to unseat the Democratic congressman. So we do politics, but we're cold, distant, and calculating. When we talk to this man and say, okay, we'll work on your mayoral campaign, we'll help you in policy development, we'll get out here and get the word out. But this is what we require. We wanted to bring farm subsidy to the inner city so that people growing in the community can get some farm subsidies to help help make the inner city food sustainable, because the city of Chicago is surrounded by a bunch of hostile white people. Red, you look, we blue, they all red. We black and they all white, whatever, however you want to define it. And we said, you know, sometimes, some years, it's like $1, $2, $3 trillion in the farm bill. And so we were going to start saying, hey, that goes to rural white American welfare. Bring some of that to the hood. And he said, if you work on my campaign, fine, I'll do that. And we're like, okay, what else can we get? Retrofitting homes for energy efficiency, solar panel, off grid. He was like, fine, if I go to Congress, that'll be my, and he had his own agendas. We had our agendas, and that's how we did politics. And if he had won, then, you know, we would have been pushing him. It wouldn't have been the end of the struggle. It would just be a new tactic employed in the struggle. So, no blacks, no Jews, no gays, machine. Okay, right on. But anyway, so I think it's a vanity project. Every time I see somebody, Nation of Islam, every Puff Daddy, Farrakhan, every time I see a black person talk about they're going to do a black political party, they obviously have not sat down and done their demographic research to see that it's a waste of time and a waste of resources. It's just something that'll get your name out there. And then, like I said, black folks' time and energy is crazy precious. And I'm not going to waste your time with putting out non-viable agendas, no matter how good they sound to your ears, no matter how good they make you feel or how much you think you're accomplishing. I don't support protest politics in terms of running a candidate just to get your, no, if you're going to play to win. If you're going to be a bear, be a grizzly. I don't support that. And I don't support wasting folks' time. And I don't support doing shit the hard way when there's an easier way to do shit, or a more productive, functional way to do shit. Were there attempts on the life of Eldridge Cleaver after his betrayal of the Black Panthers? Not that I know of. Eldridge Cleaver, I think he was a agent from the get-go. I don't think he was ever aligned with the Black Panther. And then when he left the Panthers, you know, he became a Mormon. He denounced black militancy. There should have been, I can say that. I think black folks, you know, we need our own, you know, a lot of black people have sold out our race without consequence. And a lot of times they sell us out and they get rewards from us. But there could have been. I'm not saying it ain't. I'm saying I don't know. And I'm saying it should have been. I wish I had a better answer. But yeah, but fuck Eldridge Cleaver. And it's really shocking that a lot of people still be calling his name and calling out his support. Okay. But who asked that question? Carl. Don't be asking me questions I can't answer. She X says, I voted third party and have been told I just threw away my vote. A white anarcho-socialist by the name of Eugene Debs said, I'd rather vote for something I want and not get it than vote for something I do want and don't want and receive it. There's no such thing as throwing away your vote. That's not how voting works. People confuse voting with gambling. When you put your money up and you want something in return, voting is an exercise or an expression of your values and interest. It is not a request or a attempt to pick a winner. You're not voting for the winner. You're voting for a candidate or policy. Because I lost. I voted for the progressive tax. And the progressive tax was voted down. 55% of these, again, the rednecks in Southern Illinois and the suburbs, you know, working class people voting to allow multimillionaires to keep more of their ill-gotten gains. But I voted for the progressive tax and I lost. Now, should I have gone back? If I could go back in time, should I have gone back and voted against the progressive tax? Because then my vote wouldn't be thrown away because what I voted for they got? That's fucking stupid. So I wanted Bernie Sanders to win the Democratic primary. And if I go back in time 1,000 times, I would never change my vote to Biden or any other motherfucker. Because that's what the fuck I said. I said what I said. So how did I throw away my vote when I voted for exactly who I wanted? In the general election, I voted for Howie Hawkins and the Green Party. I voted for Green Party candidates for Rodney Reclamation. I voted Green Party for Congress and Senate. Not Congress. I voted Green Party for Senate. And if I could go back in time and say, well, now, you see that? I got this damn gnat. I had the windows all open today because it was 70 degrees in Chicago and then something. But anyway, there's no such thing as throwing away your vote. You throw away your vote when you compromise yourself and vote for what you don't want. This is not gambling. You're not voting for a winner. You're not trying to pick the winning horse. Like if we went to a horse stable and it was like, well, I think that horse should win. And that horse comes in last. And yeah, whatever I put up on that horse. And I'm not emotionally invested. When Bernie lost, I'm like, they on some bullshit. The Democrats like losing because they fuck around with Bernie. They're going to fuck around and end up with a repeat of 2016. I don't want Trump to win. I want Trump to lose. I want Trump to go to jail, not just for corruption in America, but for international war crimes. We need to start like that old coon, Colin Powell. They got a school named after Colin Powell out in the suburbs. All black students going to school named after an international war criminal. Colin Powell said, we don't count the dead. You know, talking about ISIS and Afghanis and Africa. Colin Powell orchestrated bombings of Libya, orchestrated incursions into Somalia and Kenya of U.S. military. Colin Powell, international war criminal. There's certain places in the world him, George Bush, and even Obama can't travel to because they will be arrested because some nations do adhere to international law. But all that aside, what was the question? What was the question I was asking? Sorry. That's just get me talking. I hate. Anyway, voting for it. Throwing away your vote. Sorry. Given that time, just about I voted for Ralph Nader. Every fucking candidate I vote for, and especially in the general election. The only time I vote for winners, it seems to be like when I was voting in Kansas City on school board and city council elections. Many of the times my candidate wins. But 90% of the time, my candidate loses, and I have no fucking regrets. We're not trying to pick a winning racehorse. We're electing the person we think best represents our interest. And sometimes our interest isn't like what they're going to do. Sometimes you're voting for your enemy. Like, of these two motherfuckers running for office, which one of them do I think I could kick their asses better? Which one of them do I think will be more vulnerable to my machinations to subvert them? Sometimes you're voting for the person you think is more vulnerable, or you think you can sway or convince or manipulate. But you ain't never voting for a winner. That's never what you do. So anybody that says you're voting for throw away your vote literally has thrown away their vote. Because if you're voting for someone based on manipulations, if you're voting for someone not based on your values, your interest, and critical thinking analysis, but you're voting because you think they'll win, or you're voting because that's who you just scared of their opponent, then you're the one that got punked out of your vote. Not me. You got bitch slapped out of your vote. Not me. I held my vote down. I rep my vote like a real G. And you tell them I said all of that. And whatever you can, curse words you can add into that. Okay, do I feel Black Americans are victims or beneficiaries of imperialism? Chris asked. We're both. We're both. Black people are subjects of the U.S. empire. We're not truly full citizens of the American or the United States. But we're both. Black people in the United States, in terms of economic income, in terms of literacy and life expectancy and a lot of things, a lot of what Black people enjoy that the ADOS tell us that we worked hard, our ancestors picked cotton. A lot of things that Black people enjoy are a direct byproduct of U.S. imperialism. Like my ability to sit here on these devices that are full of coltan that was stolen from the African continent is a direct result of imperialism. And so that's not anything Black people should feel guilty for, because we did not create it. We are not to blame for U.S. imperialism, but we are responsible as being in the belly of the beast. We are responsible to use whatever benefits that come our way in terms of education, access, resources, money, skills, and abilities and talents. We are benefactors, but we should use those benefits to support our brothers and sisters around the globe, on the African continent, in Haiti, Jamaica, Panama, Brazil. We should use our position within the empire, and holding to the whatever limited degree, holding citizenship within the empire, to hold solidarity and to fight alongside our brothers and sisters outside who don't receive those benefits. And I think I kind of talked about how we're harmed, like we're under genocidal oppression, mass incarceration, CIA, drug dumping in our communities, assassination of our leaders, going back as far as the Reconstruction era up to Fred Hampton and Malcolm X, and even beyond that. So we are both. There are certain benefits available to us. So we work to expand those benefits and share those benefits and utilize those benefits to support and to advance the interests of the Pan-African liberation struggle. And we work to mitigate, overcome, and eventually abolish the harm that the empire, but we got to end the empire. So we don't have to be ashamed that we benefit from the empire. We are not guilty. We are not to blame, but we are responsible. We're not guilty for causing it, but we're responsible for ending it. And there's a lot of times we get confused with that. And a lot of blacks, like the ADOS and Foundational Black Americans, they want to preserve those benefits and expand those benefits. They want to be allies of the oppressors instead of enemies of the oppressors. And everything we get from this country, whatever comforts or resources we get from this country, it is just a fraction of what we are due. So we should use that to dismantle their systems and institutions of oppression. Karl Marx said over 120 years ago, the capitalist will sell you the shovel to which dig his grave. So everything they grant to us as a benefit of imperialism, we need to spit it right back at them to the best we can. And we need to recognize the black people who don't, the black people who are truly grateful for what the opportunities, and those black people are our enemies and enemies of our race and should be treated as such. That's a good question, because we get that confused. We can hear you. Yeah. He says a lot of Hmong people in Minneapolis. Okay, then, what you bragging for? Melena's bragging about they got all the Hmong people there. She thinks she got more than us. Where are we going? The whole U.S. needs to be brought up on charges in the UN. The whole U.S. governing and military and corporate, don't bring me up on charges in The Hague. I have opposed every act of aggression that is taking place in the United States, that even the acts of aggression that occurred before I died. Don't bring me up on that. I didn't ask for this. Where are you going? Okay. I saw another question. Everybody's saying they can hear me. Yeah, I had the mic way over there. I just had to turn it. I get so excited and I just can't hide it or fight it. Did she say I get so excited I just can't fight it or hide it? Anyway, I digress. I know Chauncey's a music nerd. He's going to correct me if I say a verse wrong. What are my thoughts of the video of the young activists of Kansas City who protested and confronted the KCPD about their incidents of police? I love that girl. I've watched that shit so many times. I wish somebody would put it to music like they did the Bed Intruder song. It's beautiful. The sister was so articulate and accurate. I was born and raised in Kansas City. The Kansas City PD has harassed and incarcerated 4 to 5 generations of my family. I've had the Kansas City PD pull guns on me. I remember one time, me, Bo, what's up, Bo? Sage, what's up, Sage? We were going to a house party in the neighborhood, in a hood that wasn't our hood. We was outside, village boys, and we were, how you driving, and you get to looking for houses address. So we were a block or two from it. So we looking at house address, and you know them little people would make them party flyers and then go to the school, and they had Xerox machines and shit, and they make them little. So we trying to go to the party to holler at some girls from out that didn't know us, didn't know how lame we was outside our hood. Figure girls in the next neighborhood would, I don't even remember where we was, because Sage had found the party and Bo was driving. I was just being taken. But anyway, long story short, we slowed down to look at the housing address, and a cop pulled us over and said that he saw us slow down at a green light, and that's what made us suspicious, and did the whole run through the car, put us on the curb, guns all up in our faces. It was another time we hanging out, children, and we went into a Quick Trip. They don't have Quick Trips here in Chicago. It's like a 7-Eleven or a bodega. If you're on the East Coast, we went to a bodega, son. But y'all New Yorkers, y'all don't even know what cars are. You was driving a what? Going where? We were driving this thing called a car that's in the Midwest. And we went to this thing like a Midwestern style bodega called a Quick Trip. And my man didn't park right in front of the entryway. It was an empty parking lot because it was kind of late. And he parked like 3 parking spaces down from the thing. So we walk in, and this racist pushes the alarm. We pay for our stuff with cash, and then we walk out and get in the car. And the cops come swarming us, guns a-blazing. And long story short, they were like, well, you know, why didn't you park right at the door? Just like mad disrespectful after violating. So I got literally dozens of stories like this. Dozens. When they could catch me. Sometimes we run and get away. But the cops in the Midwest, they always say Kansas City and the Midwest is sometimes like 40 to 50 years behind the East Coast. Kansas City, y'all remember about 5 years ago, the NAACP put a travel advisory for Missouri. And every time I try to tell people about how Missouri is, that's why I'm a crazy militant today, coming up in Kansas City. And every time I try to talk about how bad Kansas City is, don't say that around somebody from St. Louis, because as soon as you be like Kansas City racist, a St. Louis dude gonna jump up and, try to, tell you, nah, St. Louis, you want to come to Missouri and experience racism, come to St. Louis. I mean, literally, Missouri could do, and Missouri feels, because Missouri stayed with the Union. Missouri didn't join the South, and Missouri was a slave state that stayed with the Union, so they got to keep our ancestors in bondage. But I can't even claim that, because during that time, my people was in bondage in Louisiana, but then came up through the Exodusters and ended up in Kansas and Missouri. But that's all. Y'all don't hear from my genealogy. Shout out to Reverend Streeter, Grandpa Bowie, my great ancestors, but Grandma Bowie too. But anyway, all that to say is Kansas City is hella racist. Sometimes you go to Kansas City. What's even more striking than the racism of Kansas City, and I'm gonna tell on y'all, and I go to Kansas City. This is the first year since I've been away in 20 years that I haven't been back home to Kansas City to see my people. But what's even more curious, this is something you'll notice if you ever go to Kansas City, which makes what this young lady did even more remarkable. When you go to Kansas City and you see the boisterous white folks being racist, you'll see the black people are mad passive. Black people, yes, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. And I know everybody, all my homies from Kansas City, like, you ain't talking about me. I know Rip the Crip. I know Jeff Dog. I know all my homies from Kansas City. I'm talking about all them other niggas. I'm not talking about y'all. But black people in Kansas City are mad fucking docile in the face of white aggression. When I was growing up, when I moved to New York City and got the fuck out of Kansas City in 1992. And I was walking down the street in Crown Heights, with the Hasidic Jews. And it was a white dude walking towards me. And I'm 6'3". I'm not a imposing guy, but if you see me in life, I'm like 6'3". I'm not like a little dude, like in terms of height. So I'm just walking down the street with my Jabot jeans and my A6 and my backpack and my, I'm a 90s hip hop head, my headphones. I was going on my way to downstate to class. State University of New York, and I'm walking kind of in my music, and I look up kind of late, and I see this white dude, and he literally jumps off the sidewalk to get out of my way. I'd never seen anything like that in my fucking life. Like a white dude move out of the way of a black dude. Only time I saw that was like looking at Sweetback's Badass Song or looking at The Mac, looking at a Dolomite movie. Like that shit was science fiction to me. And I swear to you, that was the first time. I'll never fucking forget that. I wish I had gotten that guy's name. I'd put a fucking little plaque. You know, that area is a historical site. If I ever accomplish anything in life, y'all need to make that a historical site. The first time a white man ever stepped out of Bro.Diallo's way as he was walking down the sidewalk, like way out of I'm like, word, wow. I never seen anything like, because I came up in Kansas City where white folks still chest out. I remember my wife, I came there, I met my wife is from Chicago, and I met her in New York. And you know, y'all, if you know, she uppity. So when she got to Kansas City, she's like, what is going on here? She literally thought it was a joke. She would see these Confederate flags and Bush was president. So she'd see those W signs and all. And she thought that these white folks, because she's used to NPR liberals, you know, progressives. And she would see all this far right white behavior and be like, is there something like a citywide play or role playing going? She couldn't understand this environment. And when she would see black people being passive, like literally, like when I first started going out to clubs, they would line all the black people up and inspect their clothing. And they would tell I would see a black dude like go back home and forth from the club. This is in Westport. I saw it. Y'all gonna try to tell me, like my Kansas City people gonna try to say I'm full of it. But it was Westport. I was a vegan way back then in the early 90s. Been vegan since 92, really 91. Vegetarian vegan since 1991. Full vegan since 92 for sure. But I'm fucking standing outside the falafel truck because I could get me a vegan hummus falafel, right? And it was by this white club. I don't even know the name of it because I've never stepped foot in that fucking club if it's still there. Probably not. But you remember that show Malcolm and Eddie? Where that's where in the Malcolm and Eddie was shot in Westport, and they were one of the clubs, Kelly, which was a white racist club that they pretended like Eddie Griffin and Malcolm owned. It was some sick shit they were pulling. But anyway, I'm standing there one night with my homies, probably the same dudes I just named. I don't really remember. There's one dude that was there. I don't fuck with him no more, so I ain't gonna say his name. Fuck you. You know who you are. But anyway, I'm standing there, and these dudes are coming and going. Grown-ass, burly black men. You know how they grow. Them Midwestern corn husker dude. You see them on the football field. I want to thank God. I want to thank my mama. Them kind of dudes. And a little puny white man standing at the door and like, you can't wear those shoes. And then the dude go home and come back, is these shoes okay? And he was like, yeah, shoes are fine, but that shirt, you can't wear that white t-shirt. He go put on another shirt. This here shirt okay? He's like, yeah, the shirt's okay, but you better tuck it in. Oh, let me tuck my shirt in. And then he can come in the club and chase white women. I swear for God, that's the kind of shit. So what's even crazy about this young lady is not only is she surrounded by white racists, there's a fair number of passive, docile, slave mentality black people. Real talk, son. And anybody from Kansas City that want to try to test this, you tell me I'm lying. Yes, sir. No, ma'am. White folks come strutting, chest out. It's crazy. One time, I'm telling one more story, and I swear for God, I had an alcoholic dude who was a close friend of the family. I think he was my grandmother's boyfriend, but we had to call him Uncle Martin because my grandma was a Christian woman who didn't keep the company of men. So Uncle Martin, he wasn't my uncle. He was actually my grandmother's boyfriend. Uncle Martin used to say all the time, swear for God, whenever he was drunk and grandma would be like, you been drinking? I ain't been drinking. I swear for God. I swear for God this happened. I was at UMKC gym and we was playing basketball in UMKC gym. I think Jamal was there. There's some other people I can name, but I've been snitching too much. I swear for God. We down there playing basketball. It's like all black dudes, like 75 brothers down there on the floor. And if you ever been to UMKC gym, they got a track that goes around above the basketball floor. And then adjacent to that is a weight room. And all the white boys would be in the weight room on steroids, thick neck white boys lifting weights. And all the brothers that go on that campus would be on the basketball court. And we didn't mess with them. They didn't mess with us. The white boys had the weight room and the squat court. Brothers had the basketball court and the indoor track. So one day, some white boys decided, hey, let's have some fun, right? So they come down there and call next. So my team lost, and I go sit on the bench waiting for my turn to play. So these white boys didn't know how to play ball. So they're literally out there shoving these brothers. And I mean some Schwarzenegger, thick neck white, the same white boys that want to thank my mama, want to thank God, them same white, you know how they grow Midwestern white boys the same way they grow Midwestern brothers. They shoving, they kicking and throwing. And I'm sitting on the sidelines like, why are y'all letting them do this? And like, if y'all didn't come to play ball, just step. What the fuck? So anyway, I'm sitting on the side watching this, these grown-ass black men get knocked around by these white boys who are pretending to play ball and throwing the ball, you know, double, and the brothers just going along with it. And I think the brothers' mind was like, well, once we win and they lose, they'll get off the court. And so I'm sitting there cussing and yelling from the sidelines, mind you. They ain't touched me. And so one of the white boys goes after a loose ball and lands flat on his face. And I laugh obnoxiously, ha ha, pointing fingers. Then this thick-necked white boy throws a basketball at me. Throws it. But the ball hits way above me, like 20 feet above me, hits the bleachers behind me. But that was provocation. So I fly off the bench. I had one homie there. I fly off the bench, coming at him. Another one of the muscle white dudes gets me in a chokehold from behind. And then this other white dude starts drilling me in the face. One guy helped, the dude I was there with. He was a member of the Sarset Society, and he had a long ass Egyptian name that would take the rest of my broadcast to say. But he was an Afrocentric brother, and he jumped in the fight. This dude was also a vegan. If you know our Sarset people, he was a vegan. He was like 5'4", 115 pounds, and me, I'm 6'3" and 100 and maybe 55 pounds, and we're going against like 1,200, 2,000 pounds of white boy. And all these other adult black men were literally piling over each other to run out of the gym. Now, they weren't running because they were afraid of the white dudes, because they had already let the white boys abuse them. And the white boys were only piling up on me and my homie. Like, you ever been beat so bad, like you lose vision? That shit's scary because you don't know if your vision's coming back. But I fought, boy. Let me tell you, I got somebody. Somebody went home with some knots. But then I ain't going to even try to. They got us, right? But out of the corner, you ever been beaten and look out the corner of your eye? Like, anytime you see a fight, you'll see the person like, well, look, you can still. I see these grown-ass men literally running for their lives. And the reason they were running is not because they were scared of the white boys. They were running because they didn't want UMKC administrators or staff to see that they are involved in any misbehavior, because they wanted to be identified as good boys. And me and my man out there literally fighting for their dignity because the dudes was out there respecting them, not us. I got so many stories. So I'm just telling y'all about Kansas City. I was born in Kansas City. I was raised in Kansas City, went to for everything from kindergarten up. I graduated from high school in Kansas City. Bishop Hogan, shout out to the Rams. I went to a Catholic school, studied under nuns to become a Catholic fool. So what I'm telling y'all this is because that was in 90s, 2000. Kansas City's like that now. I was just in Kansas City in 2019. I went to Kansas City. How many times? Oh, Chauncey been to Kansas City with me. Tell him, Chauncey. Tell him I'm not lying. I swear for God. So this girl is not just brave. Because if she was in Chicago saying that, I've been in Chicago. If she was in New York, if she was in Oakland, if she was in Atlanta saying what she said, it would have been cold-blooded. But for her to get in a public forum in Kansas City, Missouri, and do that, that girl got heart. More heart, man, than any of these brothers out here talking, than more hearts than Dr. Umar. Well, Dr. Umar heart's probably bigger from cholesterol and cardiomegaly, but I mean, metaphorically, the biggest heart. Shout out to that young sister, man. And I know there's some good brothers in Kansas City that I know still there that will better look out for her. So shout out to that young sister. I mean, because Kansas City is no joke. Even Dale Jones was like, when he was coming from Philly and New York and writing his books and doing book tours, when he go down south, the brothers had to come a different way. They told Dale, listen, man, you don't be announcing you coming. You don't be on. You got to go with armed guard. You can't just go out. Don't eat just any food anybody put in. It was a whole different in the Midwest and South. There was a whole different protocol. Time warp. So I had nothing but love, appreciation, and respect for that sister. Moving on. Let's see what Facebook got any question. I'm just scared. I'm gonna stay online with y'all because I know everybody in Kansas City. I've been snitching on Kansas City, something terrible. It's good people in Kansas City, but goddamn it, it's fuck Kansas City at the same. Fuck the city. What did Mortal Technique say? I love the people, but I hate the place. Said something to that effect. The two-party system still has to adjust to a separate voters block even when they win. Blah blah. You know, the two-party system. It's like a one-party system. It's like a party versus a cult. The Republican Party is not even a political party. It's a cult. If you look at, you have the Democratic Leadership Committee, DLC, which is the neoliberal. You have the Progressive Caucus, and the Black Caucus often has neoliberal and conservatives. There's a lot of, I hate this word, but it's true, diversity within the Democratic Party that you do not find in the Republican Party. They some line towing motherfuckers. Somebody who's in Canada. You're right about KC folk being docile. KCBD been harassing that young woman. Black people in Kansas City aren't supporting her. See, instead of accusing her of being from Georgia and stirring hostility. That's a sister in Kansas City right now. Just like I said, I thought the Not Fucking Around Coalition pledged their support of her. Like, and you know, if I was in Kansas City right now, maybe I should reach out to some of my brothers and sisters in Kansas City. I know some rollers in Kansas City. I know some G's in Kansas City. What's up, Rip, Thunder? Where y'all brothers at? I know some real G's, some brothers that can throw down in Kansas. I'm gonna ask them what they doing. But a lot of these cats ain't on. So a lot of the cats I know from Kansas City that can deal with that kind of shit, they ain't on social media. Some of them are. But I digress. Yeah. I mean, when I was in Kansas City on the streets, I didn't get no love. I can tell you stories about me trying to, even the so-called revolutionaries in Kansas City, the way they left me hanging to dry back in the day. But hey, it's a beautiful struggle, and it's a privilege to be African. And it's a privilege to be a part of the struggle. So Mark asks, in order for African people's revolution to be successful, does the criminal element within our community have to be dealt with first? No. That is a fallacious position. That is a position that people use to derail revolutionary fervor. We don't have to solve the black criminal problem in our community. That's an excuse for provoking more black on black violence. What we do have to deal with is black vulnerability to any type of aggressors. So as we develop and as we get more power and control, but what has historically been the case is that criminality in the black community, or predatory criminality, because all criminality ain't equal. Like, my homie's father was a bank robber. My father got in trouble. He did time in the federal and state penitentiaries. And, you know, he would do shit like go up on the roof of the pool hall and shoot sniper rifles down at cops. Now, I'm not snitching on my dad because they know it. They locked him up for it. So, you know, he's already paid his debt for doing that shit. But so all crimes, oh yeah. Son said, the line is, I love the place, but I hate the people in charge. So what has historically happened is the criminal element will either have to migrate or capitulate the stronger revolutionary organization gets. So what has been told is a lot of times revolutionary organizations say, well, this particular area or this particular hustle we got to shut it down because it is counter-revolutionary or it is disruptive to our larger agenda. And believe it or not, criminals can be very practical. They can take their shit, but a lot of times what really provokes the confrontation between the revolutionary element and the petty crime, petty bourgeoisie element is when white folks come in and start to support or advance the criminal petty bourgeoisie element against the black element. So no, but the answer is a short answer. No, we don't have to stop crime or the criminal element or do away with gangs before we can begin revolutionary development and organization. But we do need to organize, knowing and understanding that our community is ravaged or vulnerable to those elements, and start to have within our revolutionary protocols and revolutionary infrastructure means to protect our people and to cycle our people out of gangsterism and petty crime to revolutionary crime. Because revolutionaries are the biggest criminals. That's why they have a COINTELPRO went after the Black Panthers. COINTELPRO, the feds, they didn't go after, they went after the UNIA, Black Liberation Army, Deacons for Self-Defense, Fred Williams. They didn't go after the Crips and Bloods. I can name dozens of Black revolutionary organizations that have been obliterated by the criminal justice system, by the FBI, CIA, ATF. I can't name one gang that has been. I know a lot of gang individuals who've been locked up and stuff, but I don't know of any gang that has been rendered defunct by the state. The state, Black gangs are an asset, but again, we don't have to stop Black crime before we can do revolution, but we should be working on Black predatory crime, Black on Black crime. In fact, I'm going to, after I do the Iceman's Inheritance, after I finish reviewing this book, I'm going to review Black on Black violence, the psychodynamics of Black self-annihilation in service to white supremacy. And then I have this other book. I think I have one more book, but I might skip this book to the third book that I do, because the brother sent me the book and I want to interview him on the show. B. Creamer. He was an educator here in Chicago, but he didn't want to stick around. He up and left us. But I'm going to read this book after I got a couple other books. But, in the next few weeks, we're going to be dealing quite a bit with Black crime and white aggression, and how white aggression feeds and white domination feeds. So, but no, the answer to that question is absolutely not. Okay. Where are we? Have any more? Why do you think Cyber Briggs isn't brought up? And I'm still waiting for my Nyerere Ujima criticism. Damn. I don't know why he's not brought up. Oh, yeah, I was going to do... Damn. People be telling me. I'm so behind. It's so much work to be done. I was going to start doing these short biographies and critiques of various revolutionaries and Black ideologies and Black ideologues. But so I will do it. It's coming up soon. So I'll have that for you. And I want to save that content for that. And I do apologize. But I thought I was supposed to start with Thomas Sankara. But if we're going to start with Nyerere, we'll start with that. Corn Fred. Yes, that's what y'all call us. But they tell me I didn't get the curse, my family curse, because all my uncles are like 6 foot something, 200-300 pound dudes. I'm 6 foot something, struggling to stick at 150. But I'll get there. I'm older now, so I might start packing on the pounds. Okay, is that it? Well, how long we been? Oh, we're almost at the 50-minute mark. So let me make announcements to my Patreons. Look what I got here. I'm going to the post office tomorrow, and I got gifts, donations. I hold it this way because I don't want y'all to see the address. Gifts, donations. I'm going to the post office to send these packages, good things, nice things, off to my Patreons. I know I'm a little late, but that ain't all. I can still be pulling. I'm still pulling. Bags overflowing with gifts. Oh, I didn't do it right. Let me do it the right way. Gifts. Oh, did you see that address? Don't be gifts, donations. So these will be going in the mail tomorrow. Thank you for your patience. I will not fall behind again. Swear for God. I'm going to stay up on top of that. Tomorrow, I will be speaking with Kalonji Chaga and Dr. Ball. We will be doing a wrap up of the election cycle. What does the next 4 years and the next 4 generations in terms of politics, what does it mean? What is the win or loss or what? So we will be having a discussion about that. I hope they send me a link. I'm really honored that the brothers would think highly enough of me to invite me out to speak with them. So I'm looking forward to that tomorrow at 8 p.m. Again, I think it's 8 p.m. Eastern, so it's 7 p.m. here in Chicago time. I had double booked because then I was invited to speak on homosexuality and the Black liberation struggle. I think that was the title. Y'all saw that dumbass meme where somebody's holding a red, black, and green umbrella over a black family and the red rainbows raining down on them. And I went on the site of a brother I respect, and I was like, "This is what the fuck? What is this dumb shit? What are you saying?" And nobody really wanted to answer me. And so they were like, "Why don't you come and speak on RBG and the rainbow?" So I said, "Why don't you get an actual LGBTQAI plus? Why don't you get a gay black person, a revolutionary gay or conscious gay black person to come talk to you?" And they asked me, "Do you know a gay?" And I'm like, "How are y'all on here literally critiquing gayness and gay people and not one of y'all know a gay?" It's weird, but whatever. I'm a vegan. I've been a vegan for over 20 years. That'd be like me sitting on a barbecue panel. I don't know nothing about it. I just know I don't want that stuff. And so, but I'm not really equipped to talk to the community about barbecue. I can tell you what's wrong and why you shouldn't be eating it, but I can't tell you nothing about preparation or I can tell you about the effects, but I'm just saying. And so they were like, "Well, can you come on?" And I'm like, "Listen, I'm ex-homophobe. I'm a recovering homophobe myself. I really am not in no position to be speaking on behalf or even in defense of the gay community." But they said they couldn't find a gay anywhere in the planet. And the whole thing is gays are taking over, but they couldn't find one gay to come speak on the panel. And I'm probably getting in trouble for using gays in that way, but whatever, man. So I said, fine. But I decided I was going to come on the panel because one of I consider from a distance, my mentor. I've been read his books. I got his books over here on the shelf. Been listening to LIB radio. The living legend, Kidi Awadu, was going to come on there. And I don't know what Kidi was going to say. I just know his position differs from mine. So I was really looking for the opportunity to chop it up with the big brain. Who knows? He might have convinced me that the black gays are a threat to the black community. And then I'd be out here, I don't know, with Umar tomorrow. Who knows? Now we're never going to find out because I've always said, if you can give me a rational argument, evidence-based, rational arguments as to your assertion that LGBTQ plus people are somehow a threat, detriment, or enemies of the Black liberation struggle, then I'll join you. I'll rejoin you. And all they ever do is call me gay for requesting a rational argument as to why I should be anti-gay. I'm like, the reason I'm not anti-gay anymore, because my anti-gayness was based on my Judeo-Christian. I attended a Catholic school. I was raised in the Baptist church. I was baptized in what's the name of Uncle Gene's church? Boy, I know I ain't forgot the name of that church. Anchored to the Rock was we were anchored to the rock, and we sing on the battlefield for the Lord. So I was brought up missionary, Covenant Missionary Baptist Church, and they changed their name to the Covenant Memorial Baptist Church. And so I was taught that it was a sin and that we will all burn in hell. And then my father was a Muslim. And sometimes he'd take me to the masjid and he'd take me to the Muslim market and we'd eat fish sandwiches and bean pies. And I was told the gays are going to kill us all if we don't kill them first. So, hey, I was indoctrinated into it. And then I would go around ranting against mind control and indoctrination and even ranting against religion. So then I'm like, damn, I need a non-religious basis for my homophobia. And I couldn't find one. And I read Amalamu Baruti's book. I'm going to be reviewing his book. I've read the book. I read Amalamu Baruti. I read Kobe Kamba. I read Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. And they've got some strong opinions, but I couldn't find a rational argument, and I'm still waiting on it. As soon as I get one, I'll be out there with Umar windmilling against the gay community as they windmill at us. If y'all could give me a rational argument, but until I get a rational argument, I got to be over here with the gay people. I didn't want to be here. Rationality forces me. That's a lot of things. Maybe I would love to be sitting with y'all eating them animal flesh and drinking excretions from animals. But I mean, rationality tells me vegan is the most appropriate rational thing to be. I just go where rationality leads me, where the evidence leads me. So anyway, I'm having an argument here, but I really would have liked the opportunity to hear what Brother Keedy and Brother Larry, the Geechee motivator, would say on the topic. So maybe I could have rejoined the straight pride, and like I said, I could have been out here windmilling against the black LGBT community to save the African race. But I'm like, that seems like an absurd position, and I haven't heard any arguments, you know, to convince me to come back over there. I'll come back over there. I was quite comfortable over there with the alphas. I'd love to come rejoin you alpha males, but you got to have some rational basis for your position. Now, how else do you fight? Windmill. See, I'm stereotyping. Yeah, I'm sorry. I know there's some gay brothers out there that can throw down. I've seen it with my own eyes, but I think I'm funny sometimes. Don't try to have the argument here. Anyway, that's then. I'm going to miss that discussion. I told him if he could move the discussion, because I'm going to be talking to Dr. Ball and Kalungi. If he could move the discussion, I'd come there. But I wasn't going to argue on behalf of the gay community because I'm not worthy to argue on their community. I ain't a part of that. Like, people don't speak for people. I respect that community. So I said, find somebody. They didn't know anybody. And I said, I will come there to argue the validity of that meme, RBG versus the rainbow, which I think is absurdist. I was going to come and argue the absurdity of that meme. And I was going to basically argue a rational position on identity, sexuality, and black ideology and culture, and how all those things intersect from a rational, but not as a representative of anybody's movement or identity. Because, like I said, we want to be respectful. And I hate that I missed that opportunity. Real talk, but they'll probably be able to be like, he punked out. They'll probably say I punked out, but it's just an overlap. On my part, both of y'all said it's going to be tomorrow at 8. So what? But you, maybe time zones. Maybe we can work it out. Maybe I can jump in late. Because I really did want to get them lessons from Brother Keedy. See what Brother Keedy had to say. Because he's right about everything else. So I just want to hear. And he comes with his data, boy. He come with it. I've had him on the 0 to 100. Me and Eon had him on the show. And when he was talking about everything from AIDS and HIV to genocidal agendas of white folks, he's on point. I mean, go read Keedy's book, Hip Hop in the New World Order. So I was looking forward to it. But anyway, that's the announcement. So our book review for The Iceman's Inheritance will come out Friday or Saturday. Monday, when I called out Ice Cube, and when I called Ice Cube a coon, a lot of you middle-aged groupies, I'd like to go to an Ice Cube concert. The way y'all was on Ice Cube's, reproductive organs, the way y'all was swinging from his reproductive organs, I would swear, if you go to an Ice Cube show, do y'all throw your old boxer jaws on stage? Like these middle-aged male groupies. NWA said on their third album, I hate male groupies, so just step the hell off. The ladies, I love them, nice and soft. I hate male groupies, so just step the hell off. And I know Eazy-E said it, but Ice Cube wrote Eazy-E's rhyme, so anything Eazy said, Ice Cube wrote. So Ice Cube already wrote that he hates male groupies. And all these dudes, Ice Cube go on stage, Ice Cube got the plan. And every time I went and critiqued Ice Cube's plan, I didn't say I don't like Ice Cube's plan because it came from Ice Cube. I was relatively indifferent from Ice Cube. I thought the first Friday was hysterical. The other Fridays were passable. I never seen any of the barbershop movies. I stopped listening to Ice Cube after Straight Outta Compton because I didn't like America's Most or Death Certificate because I thought it was some weak consciousness. It was like consciousness coming from a dude who don't read. And how could I be listening to Ice Cube try to be political when it was at the height of conscious hip hop? King Son, Brand Nubian, Poor Righteous Teachers, Boogie Down Productions, huh? The Kim Shabash. What the hell I look like? Even De La Soul. What the hell Jungle Brothers. What I look like listening to Ice Cube try to talk politics when we got these brothers who were truly schooled on the on black consciousness. So I didn't even mess with Ice Cube. Nothing for him or against him. But I said, listen, the reason I oppose Ice Cube is because of the meat and potatoes laid out in his contract and the way he executed, even if it was the most perfect political platform ever conceived and the liberation was ever the most beautiful ever. I would still oppose it because the way you execute it, it's construction and execution. You can have the best blueprints in the world, but if you got shoddy building materials or inept carpenters and shit, but his shit was whack blueprint and whack building materials and whack skilled tradesmen on whatever. I'm getting that analogy's getting away from me, but I never had one motherfucker. I'm going to tell you, not one of you fucking Ice Cube middle-aged male groupies ever came to me and defended Ice Cube based on the merits of his agenda. Not one person took one sentence, one line item, one bullet point from that plan and said, listen, you see this right here? This is genius. This is wonderful. This is workable. This is necessary. The only thing they said, most of them was like, Ice Cube got money. You don't. Him right. You wrong. Stupid ass motherfuckers. But not one person defended Ice Cube based on the text or merit. Some dudes came to me and said, well, did you read the plan? And I'm like, fuck yeah, 3 times. The short version and the long version. Yes, I did 3 videos on the fucking thing, breaking it down line by line. And then you a fag, or you a punk, or you a coon, you a crab in a barrel. That was their response. But I never heard one of you fucking Ice Cube garglers, never heard one of you motherfuckers come to me and say, because if somebody says, I've had to do this, people like Garvey was a fool, Garvey was a capitalist, Garvey was a con man, and I could go get African fundamentalism, I can go get the philosophies and opinions, I can go get the whirlwind speech and say, well, line by line, Garvey was brilliant based on what he said here. And what problem do you have? Nobody ever came to me and say, well, he wants this entrepreneurial thing. He wants this military benefit. He wants this. What is your problem with this particular agenda item? What is your problem with this particular policy platform? Nobody ever said that. They all just said, I was a punk sellout crab in a barrel for daring to even question a wealthy black man. And you know who behaves like that? Peasants. That's how peasants behave. How dare you criticize our Lord and King? How dare you criticize the beautiful queen? You act like a goddamn serf from the goddamn dark ages. That's worse than being a black Christian. That's worse than being a slave even. Because there's the implied notion that if you unleash the shackles on the slave, he'll run away. If you tear down the walls, they'll run out the walls. But peasants didn't have no chains. They just stayed there because they felt that was their role and their lot in life. There was big open country they could have ran off to, and they stayed their asses right there for generations. They stayed in peasant and serfdom longer than we stayed in chattel slavery. And they went through all the same stuff. A crystal knock. Go Google crystal knock. See how white folks, ain't nothing they did to us that they hadn't already rehearsed and practiced on each other, which is wild, man. That we want equality with them. If you knew white folks' history, you'd never want to be equal to white folks. But anyway, this is everything I've said so far is just part of my closing. Let me get my, forgive me, y'all. I shouldn't be venting. But anyway, I'm also was invited to debate. I've been invited to debate someone, a doctor, a PhD, a man of letters, a man of status. I've been invited to debate this individual on the merits of Cube's plan. And I got an email. I need to check it. And you check it. Check this email where they were saying they want me to come invite this lettered man on Ice Cube's plan. Now, I got letters too. I ain't got a PhD, but I got letters. I got degrees. So we're going to be swinging, hitting each other in the head with our degrees, I guess. But he, for some reason, thinks that Ice Cube plan is wonderful, is viable, and necessary. So I already submitted my thesis or my thesis statement. So it's going to be a formal debate, I think. I might trump that damn debate, talk over him. Many people, I might just go in there and act a damn fool if I start losing. No, I'm not. You know, I got a reputation. Do I have a reputation? That's up to y'all. My reputation is not my responsibility. Anyway, thank you for being with Bro.Diallo. Thank you for supporting the Bro.Diallo show. Shout out to Phil. Shout out to Chauncey. Shout out to Delta Star Media. Oh, today is King Dita. Today's King Dita's birthday. Shout out. Happy birthday to King Dita. I can't have nothing because my birthday is coming up in 3 days, but he had to try to jump out in front of me and have his birthday first. I can't have nothing to myself. That's what happens when you hang with black folks. They want to try to be a part of everything. But anyway, shout out to Wise Intelligent. Go check out that Killing You for Fun. Go download. He's just, man, a living legends out here, y'all. Living legends. Introduce it to your kids. That debate is for you because the plan is evolving. Yeah, okay, yeah, let that plan devolve. Fuck Ice Cube and fuck him for that shit. You know, fuck him, man. And fuck his plan. Anyway, but no, that's not appropriate. It's just scratch that. Delete that footage. We're going to see. Well, if it evolves, okay, he can grow. Y'all love pretending. Y'all act like every fucking criminal scam nigga is Malcolm X. You know, y'all love giving 15 chances. You know, your girl, you know, you catch her texting the wrong dude, you ready to throw her out, never speak to her again. But y'all want to give people who sell out the whole damn race 1,000,001 chances. Whatever. Pay reparations. I'm for reparations. And that was in the plan, but they always bastardizing reparations because they try to separate reparations from actual repair. They want repair-free reparations. They want a payoff. They don't really want reparations. But let me start the outro music, and if I start the outro music, maybe I'll shut up and get out of here for the night. Anyway, we started off with freestyle from Killing You for Fun by Wise Intelligent. We're gonna leave with Wise Intelligent. I said it. At least we're going to try to. I don't hear it. See, here we go. Uh-oh. I see y'all. Subscribe to the YouTube. Check out. I'm back on Q4 every Monday morning at 7 a.m. Check the book reviews. And I'll start doing those biographies. I said it.
Yeah, I said nigga. Yeah, I said cracker. But what you won't ever hear me say
it's just a master.
I don't hang with actors or actors. I don't do church because I can't converse with a lot of black pastors. These ignorant bastards. Stay serving their masters. Keeping us cold while they doing us harm, misleading the masses. Some of you to hit after. While they keep getting after. Your money, I ain't no dummy. I'm gonna be here after. My enemy's gone. Double I and roll. Put a rain down, pop from up on high when they hear like throw. That's headed to a Satan like new shoes. I can't wait, mate. They blow for my blues right before the news might. Half the my death they'll play it, celebrate and DJ it. It ain't never been whether or not